Yeah, this is Paul. Yeah. I'm reading this dictionary. Yes, and they have what's called a panel truck, a small motor truck with a fully enclosed body. Then they have what's called panhandling, to a larger. What's this here? Panhandle. Panhandle, a narrow projection of a larger no, to ask for money on the street. To panhandle. And then they had one other word here, just a second. Nope, that's not it. Pandemonium, panel. Oh, a panel, a list of persons uh, appointed for special duty. A jury, also a large group of persons. Flat piece of construction, a flat piece of wood on which a picture is painted on board mounting instruments. Um, I just wanted to make mention. When I moved to Clallam County, there was a very good friend of mine that had a construction company, and he had one of these panel trucks. Well, there was an incident when I was living in the fifth wheel, and I took his truck. It was a Chevy truck, and it was a best built truck. Now, I had planned on getting myself one of these panel trucks because sometimes, let's say, you get in a fight and you don't really want to get in a fight with somebody, so you take your own truck and drive it into a tree. Now, with as many children as I have, my concern was, well, what are they going to drive to learn how to drive? And a big old Chevy panel truck that carried all the tools on it and everything because it was a best built truck. Tom's best built. I really put it to the floor one day. Now, it seemed to me that the Marines had my wrist because Vincent Stewart, was a brigadier general of the United States Marines. General Joseph Dunford was a commandant of the United States Marines. And if I was going to be the person that hits somebody first, I would hit with the Marines. And then my right bicep, I think, was the Army, and my left bicep was the Navy. And then I had the Air Force on the top of my head. Now, when you talk about muscles and nerve endings and those that don't really understand the law, it's not like I can walk into a sheriff's office and just make a fist and just punch the shit out of you. I can't do that as an American citizen. I can't confront those that have badges on. I can't order them to enforce the law of the United States. I can't say, well, without due process, you cannot take my sons. Now, there are those for the last 6 years that have been trying to force me to panhandle to be able to get my rights as an American citizen. And I made a little video about how I do not beg, I do not panhandle. Now, when you're a sheriff or a police chief and you think because you have a badge on and you have a gun on that you're going to violate the rights of American citizens, I'm not really a physical man. Now, I can defend myself if I needed to, but I've not been trained in the science of how to really beat the living daylights out of any oath of office that won't do what they say. Now, I know the use of technology. I mean, I've had my teeth ripped out numerous times, and I know the use of technology of discharging large amounts of electricity into a citizen's body so as to electrocute them. But it seems like those in law enforcement don't understand that I cannot physically hit a sheriff. Now, when the law orders those in law enforcement to enforce the rights of American citizens, I think of the military as five different brothers. You have the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, and the National Guard. Now, these five branches of the United States military, they really fight a lot when you think about it. They're always wanting the money from the Treasury because they think that they're most important. But when you upset the United States military because you're local law enforcement, you're a sheriff of a county, they will actually, together, all five branches, just beat the out of every badge. Now, I tried to explain that I'm not going to beg for money and I'm not going to beg for the enforcement of my rights. I'm not going to use physical violence to express the anger that I have about not having my sons right here, right now. Okay? Now, in a jury, there are those that have special duties. We could talk about every panel of those that have a duty to make sure that the laws of the United States are enforced, and every employee of every city and every county and every state and the federal government does exactly what they have sworn. Now, when you put the five brothers of the United States military together and they stop looking at their individual needs and they all start looking at the nation, it's quite possible that they have the training necessary to inflict as much physical pain into the bodies of those that are law enforcement. Now, when you talk about the use of technology, I know I've been electrocuted quite a few times, and I know how many times I've experienced physical pain, and I know how many times I've been tortured and persecuted and wrongly prosecuted, and I know how many times I have told law enforcement to enforce the laws of the United States. Now, you can get the physical pain of the United States military, or you can do what the law says. Sheriff!